what happens on the red side for DK, as already Lucid's Vi is going to be banned away. We will see this. If they stay in the tournament, she will continue to get banned away from Lucid. He plays every champion as if it's Vi. The Lee Sin Vi looked really good in game number 1. See whether they address that one as well. Is Ashe going to be taken off the board? And will the Yone, will the Aurora both be taken away as well?
I imagine they will be. The question mark for me, though, is like, what do Weibo actually do differently on the blue side? Because I feel like they got the things they wanted, right? Orianna is a potential first pick. They got the Nocturne follow-up. That's kind of been the combo that we've seen paired with this. Maybe they try and take away something like the Kalista, but they actually, okay, they ban away the Kalista themselves. Like but it's like, I felt like Weibo kind of got a lot of what they wanted, but they just weren't able to perform on those picks in the moment.
Well, this is going to be Yone or Aurora, whichever one they would like to ban, or they ban Skarner and Nocturne. That's your options. And then you trade. And so they're going to go down the Skarner route this time. And so that means that if Aurora is banned here, then you ban the Yone, and then it's sort of a wash. And if they're not banned, then we go for a trade. And Kingen, pretty good on these mages towards the top side of the map. He's got a very extensive champion pool. We don't have a lot of tape, just because Aurora wasn't enabled for all that long. But this is a bit of a gamble being taken here by DK.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised because it was DK who banned the Aurora on blue side, so I thought they'd at least, well, they probably will just keep it here, but I think it's also a bit of a call out to Xiaohu, because Xiaohu was notorious in the LPL for the banana combo, where he would have his Q3 up and available, he would whiff the ult, miss you with the Q3, and then go back to the solo unbound. So he didn't have the best of times on the
Showmaker, on the other hand, has the never use ult for an entire game.
Yes.
That was his move. So both of them with some sick Yone plays available, as there is a Sejuani ban.
So setting up the trade. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Weibo just take the Aurora side of it and just say, look, Showmaker, you have a loss on the champion already at Worlds. Maybe we're happy enough to play into it. The other option, of course, is that Kingen has also brought out the Yone as well, so maybe they are a little nervous of the flexibility that the Yone offers on DK's side.
Well, they're definitely going to need an answer, because obviously the Yone is going to be snapped up, and we'll just have to see whether it's going to work out. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about this because I kind of expected Yone just to be banned every single time. But Xiaohu and Showmaker aren't really the guys that you expect to be having great performances on this champion. Just have to see whether some redemption can be claimed as Aurora and Nocturne. Is it just going to be Aurora, Nocturne, and the Ahri? Something that we have seen find a fair bit of success in Worlds so far, as Lee Sin now going to be the consideration for Lucid. Looked very, very good on that champion. Just going to be cycling through a few more options before he does make his final decision. Clock ticking down. I like the Nocturne has been so incredibly strong, especially yesterday. It felt like we were getting Nocturne trades all over the place and was really performing well.
I think it's also, we've seen obviously Kingen flex the Yone. It's also something that Breathe, I feel like, would have in his champion pool as well. Like, this was a guy when he started off was like a big Riven player, these kind of things as well, back when he was Curse on OMG. So there's always that option, but that's going to be blown out the water here, as immediately they're going to take the Nocturne from and just try and play what's a little bit more of a standard, it looks like.
Could be. Now we've got light locking in the Ezreal, though, something that we know is deadly on. And aiming, probably pretty jealous, because this guy really loves Ezreal as well, was very outspoken, saying he was the best Ezreal in the LCK all season long in summer. But not going to be able to play it. See how he plays into it, as Xiaohu to lock away potentially a support pick if they want to lock down the bottom lane here, or they could take a jungler for Tarzan to answer this Nocturne. We'll see exactly where they go, as instead it's going to be the Gnar picked up. So Tarzan leaving that pick up in the air, probably wanting some magic damage.
I also feel like Weibo were setting up for a lane swap. Whenever we have the Aurora that's potentially going top, we've seen the Gnar into, hey, I'm going to push waves, TP in, have my Nega Gnar, make it really difficult then for this Aurora to operate, and then be able to get this gold lead that it can then abuse the matchup. But with the Kai'Sa locked in, at least you got a decent matchup if you have those standard lanes into the Ezreal.
Exactly, and it also really pairs well with the Nocturne. We saw this yesterday work so incredibly well with the fact that you just paranoia, and then immediately that killer instinct comes down on top of your target, and both of them are just dive bombing into backlines. If Kingen gets good flanks, or a Showmaker on the Aurora, if they do decide to flex it, if they get good flanks, then the amount of follow-up is there in an instant. And we saw how well it worked in that huge snowball that was prepared. So Jack's going to be taken away from Kingen here, not wanting to allow him to have that on 4. I don't really want Kingen playing Jax either if I was going to be the LCK guy on this desk.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to force the Aurora into that matchup against the Nara, so banning away those top laners, so then that gets moved up there. But I think, as you were already talking about before, and Kingen is a massive champion pool. He's a ton of flexibility, so there's always an option that he can't bring out something from the depths of his champion pool and be able to be totally fine into a matchup against Nara, and they just give...
It's Gangplank, right?
It could be easily be, yeah. And I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? The Gangplank ultimate over the top with the Nocturne, and you got a very clear AoE with the Aurora as well, and it just facilitates a lot of that dive too. So I am curious if it will be something like a GP or anything that's a bit more special for Kingen.
Yep, and this is the time where you bring it out. Of course, do or die. This best of 3 gets you to Paris or home. Rel going to be taken away from Moham. This guy, if you were watching the playoffs of the LCK, you understand why this ban needs to come through. Something that wasn't understood by some of the teams that they faced in those playoffs, much to their detriment. So now, aiming. What are you going to be picking up? Could be a pickup for Showmaker. Could also just be a support to be locked in, as that's Kennen, the consideration. But I like this a lot more. Camille going to be locked away, some split pushing power, and that will put Aurora into the hands of Showmaker this time. Seen it's mainly LPL teams that have been doing a lot of putting Aurora in the mid lane, and I do like the look of it. Camille going to be the pickup for Kingen there towards that top side of the map. Can be a brutal matchup, one way or the other, depending on how things go.
I think that's where it's going to be a little bit interesting for how Lucid operates, trying to facilitate that Camille so she can play aggressive. The match will be okay, but okay, Brand jungle for Tarzan. He looked exceptional on this pick in the LPL, consistently being able to get those like flash seer or Q flash seers to get the CC. So definitely a pick he has comfort on, and with Crisp going back towards the Alistar, I think you do alleviate some of that pressure on the bottom side, because you do want another follow-up kind of dive tool for DK. Alistar could have worked well, but forcing the Nautilus, not the worst pick here, just not the best into the Alistar.
No, exactly right. Also means that I'm kind of expecting a lane swap almost absolutely from Weibo. Ezreal Alistar has never really been the most powerful of early 2v2s, and so probably getting away from that seems like a good idea. A lot of firepower, man. Pun not intended, coming through on Weibo's side. There is damage from absolutely everywhere outside of the cow. And you look over on Deep Plus's side, they're here to fight as well. So I think once again, it's just going to be Biffo. We're just Biffo again.
Yeah, I am very excited to see how that one's going to turn out, though, because grand scheme of things, like, there's so much that can snowball either direction, right? Xiaohu gets some early control in mid, suddenly he's an absolute menace in the side lane Showmaker can't really deal with. Tarzan has been exceptional at getting leads on this brand, looking at dives as well, so there's a lot going on here. This is going to be a banger.
Oh, it absolutely is. I cannot wait to see how this one's going to go. The one worry I have for both teams is that these are snowball compositions on both sides. If leads are picked up, they are probably just going to be carried through. This early game will be imperative for both teams to get off on the right foot. DK had a little bit of trouble with that in game number 1. Let's hope they've tidied it up moving into game number 2, but this is going to be fireworks guaranteed between these two squads. And I don't know, I'm kind of feeling Weibo biased, just because I won 3 games. I think that this series deserves it, these two teams deserve it. And of course, the global power rankings puts them at 9 and 10. Like, they couldn't be closer anyway.
Exactly.
It's beautifully done. Let's see how this gameplay is actually going to go. I want to draw people's attention to the Kai'Sa as well, because aiming throughout our regular season, his Kai'Sa was extraordinary. When he was on KT prior to this, his Kai'Sa was what got them to almost an undefeated season. And as we load up onto the Rift, we'll see whether he can have another great performance here on the world stage, somewhere where he's been criticized the most. Now, where is Weibo going to go? How are they going to find these early advantages?
30 seconds.
Looks like they're just going to get the invade from DK, trying to see if they can spot out where this lane swap is going to happen. So nothing too untoward at the moment. They're spotted by a nice ward at the Raptor, so Kingen now going to see that Weibo are going for a similar story. And how did DK react here? Looks like they're just going to try and defend this bottom quadrant.
Yep.
But Weibo are moving across. It's 5 members.
Oh,
DK are split.
This ward is getting so much value as now Lucid is going to get spotted. There's the flash pulverized. Lucid flashes away, gets the Dustbringer for the extra movement speed, and might be able to get himself out. The block on the Mystic Shot just to make sure that Lucid isn't taking more damage as Showmaker does hop himself back. A bit of damage with the passer on the Q. Nicely done. And DK get themselves out, but no flash on Lucid.
But I think it's actually a bit of a win for DK. Light, no flash. Crisp, no flash. And you get the standard lanes.
Light flash. That is a big deal.
Yeah, and you get the standard lanes that you really want to as well. So this bot lane for Weibo now has to play incredibly safe, and you've actually got a decent matchup when it comes to the AD carries as well. So with these flashes down, I'm curious what Lucid wants to try and burn here, but this is where it does get a little difficult. Nautilus is kind of hard to play into towards the Alistar, because if you time the pulverize correctly, he's just able to interrupt the hook and move away from that. So maybe that's a little bit of a saving grace for Weibo, but still nice wins for DK just on summoner spells.
Yep, and the fact that they get those standard lanes like you were talking about. So DK now, let's see how much pressure they can put down. Not really an advantage picked up just yet. It's just the potential for an advantage with these flashes now down. Lucid also going to have to be a little bit careful if the brand does get overly aggressive, but we know that Tarzan's probably just going to try and hoover up the jungle as much as he can. Going to be taking his second camp now as those Krugs are going to fall. But the Crash going to come in as Breathe could be in trouble here, gets stunned up by Kingen. As the tactical sweep coming out as well. Breathe just looking for that transformation, might be able to get it. This is what happens, right? It's like Camille looks like she's winning, and then as soon as you start walking away, that's when you lose all your health buff.
And I mean, Breathe has actually had a nice couple of days for himself as well. We had a great game from in the last one, was kind of the saving grace for a lot of those fights for Weibo, and it's nice to see Breathe having that step up, because when you look back at, you know, OMG days when he was cursed, he was kind of like, oh wait, this guy's kind of like top 5 in the league in 2020, but then started to move on to WE, and you're like, hang on a second, this guy has hands, he can actually really achieve some things. But has been a little while since we really saw him, especially this year, step up. He's been a bit of a liability at times, so having some nice performances at Worlds kind of setting Weibo on hopefully the correct path, but needs to try and do so again here against DK, because they need to win 2 games in a row now if they hope to keep their dreams alive.
Well, Kingen still just going to be pressured out here by this mini nut towards the top side of the map, and so far Breathe stacking up this wave, going to be feeling all right, unless Lucid decides to make his life hell. As now Xiaohu down to about 250, not having the greatest of times into this Aurora from Showmaker, and I feel like Showmaker is one of these players that does this the best, where as soon as he gets his Fangs in, he makes things work. Speaking of Fangs in, Light is already down to 50% as Moham just moves himself out, looking for a bit of a trade. Does go a little bit more evenly than you might have expected, as now Lucid is going to look to take down Breathe. Great sidestep to deny the hop, as now the hook shot comes through, but Tarzan, great positioning. Lucid, oh, he's still going to get stunned up by that Seer. There is a stack up of the passive, and Lucid just trying to get himself out of there. Will be able to escape. That costs him so much of his health.
The tactical sweep from Kingen was clutch though, managing to get the outer hit so you get the slow, meant that Breathe couldn't really follow up for the auto attacks, get another proc of that hyper, even Tarzan being able to get some damage down. So Lucid has had a little bit of an unfortunate start to this game, but still lucky to get away.
Oh, there's another hook, great buffer there on the Arcane Shift for Light to get himself out of the way, but still DK continuing the shove. Almost a 10 CS advantage here for aiming the same time. This is his comfort zone, getting more money in bottom lane. That's what he really likes. It wasn't happening in game number 1, so it was probably a little bit uncomfortable. Is this feeling better?
Yeah, I mean, look, Light has had great performances on the Ezreal, so would definitely like to be getting some of that money as well. And he is someone that can, and for a long time has been able to step up for teams like LNG when he first started in the league to really snowball out of control, but aiming is not giving him that chance at all. And DK have relied on aiming for so much to get these early leads and play through. Breathe.
Yeah, Kingen actually flashing here. As do we have it? Nope. Not quite enough damage as Breathe is able to walk this one off, and teleport up and available. Not a massive advantage picked up here for Kingen, as both flashes were traded as well. So Lucid starting off this dragon now. No big leads picked up for either side, and I was expecting a before 5 minutes first blood. We're already not getting that. We'll have to see where that is going to be drawn. As so far, mini advantages being picked up, most of them towards DK, with that bottom lane push and with the fact that Showmaker has had so much pressure on Xiaohu, despite the fact that there is not really an advantage to speak of in that mid lane.
Yeah, and just keep my eyes on Tarzan on the mini-map, because did spot out that Lucid was on the dragon and trying to put some pressure down, may end up in a bit of a smite fight. Showmaker's starting to roam across, he's just reset, but Xiaohu in the vicinity as well.
Man, this dragon takes so long to kill. Mountain Drake is just very tanky, is Crisp in a lot of trouble. That's going to be the steal for Tarzan, but is it going to be first blood going over to DK? No, it is not. And so Weibo, the highway robbery is going to work out.
And it actually isn't a worse time for Chris, because he's just pushed out bot wave. He gets the reset anyway, was looking for it around this time or anyway. So in the grand scheme of things, Weibo just kind of get to steal that dragon away and walk out.
Nicely done. Still going to be a reset here for Light and Crisp, as I thought maybe there'd be a push, and I was going to talk about maybe some turret plates, but that doesn't happen as Tarzan, oh man, Brand pretty good at killing grubs, and Xiao going to come over and assist as well, and that will be 3 going over to Weibo to start this one off. So already it feels like their grip on the map is better than what we saw in game number 1, despite the fact that they're not starting off with a 2-0 Caitlyn.
Tarzan just trying to help Breathe get a little bit of an advantage off the plates. There's the Demolish proc, they will just move away, but Lucid also very close to level 6, so kind of finding that timing window where they could play aggressive on this top half, but Moham moving up as well. They're going to back away. And then it becomes a question of what happens now the level 6 are hit for both junglers. You've got the opportunity to play around mid lane, potential for that lockdown, and also looking at potential for Light to be caught by this Nocturnal. You have to be so careful on the map for Weibo now that Lucid is starting to come online.
Well, you can see Moham just clearing out vision where he can. His next dragon will be a Chemtech Drake, so that's not going to be the soul this time. See exactly what it is going to be. I think all of us kind of want Hextech Dragon to be that soul, just because it does mean that players can get to fights more. And when both of these teams can get to fights more, we're just going to have so much more action in this game. Once again, it's extraordinarily even. Just feels like it's just been 50-50 forever. In game 1, game 2, does not matter. Gold lead has not escaped more of like the 2K mark until the big lead is picked up at the very end.
It is crazy that we had like 5 to 6 flashes burned though, and absolutely nobody has died at any point in time. Even both objectives taken and nobody's batted an eyelid essentially at each other. But for Weibo now, trying to get position on towards the spot half. I do really think with Lucid ticking over to 6 though, there is a potential for a play, especially if Moham hits 6, like ult the Ezreal with the Nautilus, then immediately follow in with the Nocturne ultimate. Just makes it very difficult to escape that on the bottom half of the map, but Lucid starting to sneak in behind.
Yeah, a little bit of a wraparound here as Control Ward does go down. Tarzan in the area. Lucid does have a spell shield, so not as worried about the brand. But still, Xiao just come down to protect the vision. Showmaker without too much control of the wave. Now going to be moving back. Pillar of Flame not going to connect as Moham's moving in. This could be a fight. For some reason, it's still 2.5 minutes before the Dragon Dagger. I don't know.
It's all the posturing. It's all about sending a message.
The message is, I want to fight you.
And it's just replied, received. Yes, we do.
Loud and clear.
I think though in this position, like, Weibo definitely spike very hard off of singular items coming through, like a Xiaohu getting Bork, you get the Triforce for Light, so I can kind of understand hey, we would like to get to that point before we really start to tussle. Whereas for DK, like, I think people underestimate the AP scaling that is on the Aurora because she's so utility focused, but the later the game goes, she's going to be in a great spot. Kingen will be able to take over in the side lane as well, so I think it's Weibo kind of getting all their ducks in line before they really start to fight, and then hoping they can blow up in this game before the Camille and the Aurora and even the Kai'Sa start to come online.
Yeah, and we know that aiming is fantastic at late game Kai'Sa play. Tarzan moving up, Lucid in the area as well. No paranoia just yet. Can press that button, but once again, the vision is so good from Weibo. Lucid going to be spotted on that approach, and Breathe has the ability to get himself out. Still gives control of the wave over to Kingen. We go back to a bit of a stalemate as once again Xiaohu taking a lot of harassment from Showmaker, but doing well, picking up farm where he can. This wave should be slurped, and there it goes. Not able to collect all of it, and he's down 6 CS, but melee versus ranged, especially when it's Showmaker on this Aurora with a lot of harassability. Pretty good job so far from the little tiger in the mid lane.
I think it is crazy though that there's so many names on both these sides that one of them is going to be going home. Like using Xiaohu, Tarzan, Crisp. I know Crisp hasn't had the best of times, but still, like, just a world champion that could potentially be going home on the opposite side. People like Showmaker, Kingen, aiming, like, names that have been around for so long in the LCK and shown up so consistently on the international stage. Like, to have this as our only potential to go to playoffs is absurd.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's sort of speaks volumes towards the pedigree of players that we have here at Worlds in 2024. Sad, but we are lucky, you know, at the same time. There's a silver lining, Dagda, and we're going to be all right. And at least one of these teams is going to be heading towards Paris. See who it's going to be so far. Weibo, I think, playing out the game plan quite nicely. This will be 6 grubs if they're able to take it. DK know that this is happening. Ticking up to 4, so Void Might's now available. It's going to be dangerous, though, as we can see. There's 5. DK still looking for a potential fight here as the turn available. Crisp has the ultimate, and there is the flash forward. They lock down Lucid. He's going to have to flash away. As now Moham finds himself all alone, gets the knock up here. Hasn't died just yet, misses the hook, but gets in range onto Crisp. Between Worlds from Showmaker is doing so much work. He takes down First Blood, but Kingen is also going to fall alongside his support. And now Lucid is in no man's land. Light is able to pick up that kill. It's a double for his Ezreal. And Weibo, I think they're real happy about this one.
Yeah, Weibo needed Light to step up yesterday, and now he's doing it again here against DK in the elimination game. Gets the snipe with the Arcane ult over the back, and also then picking up a second kill. Weibo now getting a second dragon as well. And the start of this is unfortunate for DK. Lucid gets jumped on by Crisp. You can see Aurora is trying to run down for Showmaker, but Moham hooks the wall with a nice side step from Tarzan. He's now in no man's land. And even here, as the TP comes through, you've still got a lot of flashes on the side of Weibo Gaming. So you end up with Breathe being able to flash out. Light gets the snipe onto the backline as well to finish off the Nautilus, and then he's just able to chase down with a ton of damage just being thrown all over the place in that fight.
Yeah, and Moham hit the same bit of wall twice in that fight. So hopefully next time it's a champion on one of them. That's what we want to see. Yeah, nailing the wall on that one as well. Getting the iron. It's working out. Backing on a ward, as we can see, but King in towards this bottom side of the map, looking to try and grab some plates. Not very much longer do we have plates on the Rift. 1.5 minutes. Try and get the rest of that gold as now Showmaker up towards his top side. We've seen the Aurora in our matchup quite a few times. So he's going to be heading towards that one. And DK, still a lot of win conditions, a lot of ways to get themselves back into the game in the gold lead. Not even 1,000 or anything like that. But if these fights go the way that we saw that last time around, this could be very, very dangerous here for DK, because it feels like this is a lot more of a slow and steady approach from Weibo. And it's working very well thus far.
I think it's also, you need really time for Kingen now to come online into this matchup against Breathe. So the range advantage that Breathe has to start chipping away at these turrets is going to become very noticeable. Even Showmaker versus Xiaohu. Xiaohu can still get a lot of push in the matchup against Aurora. So you do have a lot of champions that can get value from this 6 Void group buff. And Weibo, you can see already, definitely taking full advantage of that.
Yep, Breathe should be able to at least grab some plates from this one. Him and Light, gold leaders at this point in time. Showmaker may actually have his back stopped as well. Yeah, the last second boulder going to come through and deny the back from the Aurora. That means another wave does taxi on in, and this should just be first turret blood going on over to Weibo. They even teleport in to try and make sure that this one's going down, because they want to be able to get themselves an inner off the back of this as well.
Yeah, Xiaohu had also been zoned away from that bot side turret. You could look at where Lucid and Moham were. They were fully attacking that bottom half. So Xiaohu says, look, I'm never going to be able to get access to this wave, so I'm just going to come top instead and see if we can use the 6 Void group buff to get 2 towers off the back. That's such a massive gold injection for Weibo.
Yeah, this is huge. Moham and Lucid are making their way in, though. Tarzan already softened up just a little bit. The hook just barely going to work out, as Between Worlds coming down from Showmaker does get the flash out, as now this huge knockup from Crisp is massive, and down goes the Nocturne and the Nautilus. Showmaker not long for the world as well, as Xiao knocks him up and cuts him down. Aiming tries to get in there, gets one of them back, could be another. The flash out of the way, the headbutt is gorgeous. They still get the turret, they still get the kills, but Aiming is now fed.
The focus was the tower, but now I'm looking at the hands of both these teams. That was sick from Aiming, being able to dodge away from so much of this, but also Crisp surprising DK over the wall, setting up for Breathe in that brilliant narrow. But every time we get these fights, it feels like Weibo get a chance to sneak away another objective, and it's the Rift Tower that will go their way. But hook from Moham goes wide. The Between Worlds, Xiaohu flashes away, but Crisp with a hex splash over the wall gets on towards Lucid and Moham, knocks Lucid back immediately into the Mega Gnar. So both Moham go down thanks to that extra little bit of damage from the Ezreal ults, and Showmaker's just kind of left alone for Xiaohu to finish off. But Aiming here, this was gorgeous. Finishes off one, flashes the headbutt pulverize from Crisp, uses the Void Missile, so doesn't even need vision in the brush, and manages to finish off one more.
Yeah, Showmaker Lucid praying for an opportunity to get back into this game, because things not going so well in that fight. I think pressure on these rookies, of course, Lucid and Moham. Moham having a little bit more experience, having played here and there in the LCK, but never at this level. These are 2 players that are relatively untested, and absolutely untested when it comes to the world stage, especially for Moham, who has only recently joined this team. As Paranoia does come down. There's a hook landing. That's my boy Moham, as they will be able to get the kill onto the Brand. Lucid still taking a lot of damage for it, because Brand just does so much. But now Showmaker might be in an awkward position. Between Worlds coming through as he uses it to escape here. True Shot Barrage going to be landing as well. The Hyper has been stacked up. One more auto from Breathe is going to do it. And Showmaker trying to get there, but he does not manage to avoid that last one. So the Mega Gnar is going to be able to lock down the kill, and now teleport from King in to get himself towards this bottom side. Feels like Weibo are finding ways to trade up in all of these situations, and this feels like the biggest gold advantage that we've seen for a team, especially with 2 Drakes stacked up and 6 Void Groves.
Yeah, DK tried everything to just break Weibo on that play. TP in Showmaker, try and get a pick, try and get top tower, and suddenly get a ton of gold back in your favor. But Weibo just had many people in position, and then the push for Xiaohu on that bottom side as well meant that they could threaten the tower. They get the TP from King and 2. As you say, it's just Weibo having these small advantages where they're constantly trading up. Now with Dragon up and available, DK already in position, reset for a breathe. He's going to have to TP onto one of these wards if he wants to be a factor.
Yeah, Tarzan going to be able to get the smite on the crab as well, so some extra vision available here for Weibo. As Infernal Soul as well, we haven't even really spoken about it. As Chris going to get hit by Duskbringer, doesn't really mind about that one at all, but Soul Point is a big deal.
Showmaker's ultimate is nearly up and available. Had to use it to escape, so doesn't actually have it available for this fight. And I think that's why DK just don't feel comfortable taking this scrap. Also, top wave not in their favor, so Weibo get 3 dragons with little contest from DK.
Absolutely nothing they could do about it. And Soul Point, just such a big deal. We talk about it all the time. Didn't even need to put down the Rift Herald, which is now just thrown in here as there's the Fate sealed, and the catch is beautiful. Lucid nowhere to go. That's going to be the lockdown. Between Worlds comes in, Light trying to get himself out. It's a fair bit of damage, but they're not able to finish off any of these kills. Is now Kingin trying to run his way out. Decent mitigation of some of it, but that X-Tech ultimatum is one that they're happy to take any day of the week. They'll take down the Camille, and DK are floundering now.
Weibo are just catching DK as they try to set up these plays. There was a great flank coming through from Kingin and started to move in at the back of Dragon Pit, but Lucid gets caught. He goes for the all-in anyway, and there's just too many health bars and gold on the members of Weibo to really distract them.
Depth charge to come on through here. Showmaker trying to at least follow up, but not able to get into position, and feels like clutching at straws here just a little bit. DK, they were answering a lot of aggression in game number 1. This feels like they're throwing themselves at the problem and not quite figuring it out.
I don't really know how they try and stop the bleeding is the problem. Again, the 6 Void Grubs making it very difficult to really try and push back against the onslaught that is Breathe right now. This Gnar has been absolutely spectacular so far, but Xiaohu's been able to pick up a ton of kills. You have the Trinity Force and very close to your Mermana completed for Light as well. You're just slipping further and further behind, and DK are a couple that need to go in, so they have no other choice.
Yeah, and the problem is that it feels like you need to remove Tarzan from the fight just because he does so much consistent damage. But if they do that, he still does a lot of damage, and the rest of Weibo are going to kill DK anyway. I don't know what the answer is to this one, and you can see that DK are struggling to figure it out as well, but they're going to have to if they want to find their way back into this game. Then a 6,000, well, more like a 5,000 gold advantage. It's going to be hard to overcome by any stretch of the imagination. 2 items now coming in for aiming. Does have his Rage Blade complete. Wants that Nasho's Tooth before he's feeling really comfortable, and we know that this guy is very, very good at utilizing his Kai'Sa in the later stages of the game. Just don't know whether it's going to get to a relevant point where the fight's going to be honest enough for him to be able to perform.
I think you can see what DK are trying to do, though. It's, hey, we pushed out bot side a bit Kingin. Let's try and move him up and look for an all-in brawl with Lucid being able to follow up with an ultimate, but it's just so difficult. I actually think they should be going for nearly the reverse, where try and play for a Kingin pick on side with Lucid, and then you have Kingin to TP to wherever Weibo try and do the cross map. But you can see in this position, as long as Weibo are playing safe, it's very difficult to lock down Light, or honestly even Crisp as well, when he's got that Alistair ultimate.
Yeah, you can see Lucid actually pretty deep in enemy territory, going for a recall now, but was able to get some reconnaissance work done. Chris walking towards his control ward. They will be able to clear that one out. Now control of this Baron area is pretty absolute from Weibo. One ward, that one tricksy little ward there, is going to be able to spot the rest of Weibo as they're moving over. Aiming will be able to secure the red buff here for his team, as Crisp avoids that poke damage outside of the Duskbringer, as the Baron has been started. Vision was there for DK. They know that this is happening, but do they have an answer for it is the question. Xiaohu taking a fair bit of damage, wants to get over that wall, gets the knock up. There's the Pillar of Flame. It's nicely done. Lucid tries to spell shield the True Shot Barrage that wasn't actually going to connect. They do get the control ward in. Decent knockups coming through, but they just back away. They just hold strong, and Weibo, they leave the Baron Pit. Man, this is such measured play from this team, not wanting to risk it.
But DK now have access to mid lane and a potential for that bounty on the tower. Kingin constantly keeping Breathe pushed out. I think they should be able to get some damage, but maybe not take it. It looks like Light should be in a position to hold.
That was a weird situation. I normally expect them to just fight, and then they just didn't. And I don't know whether it necessarily works out, but I'm confused. And I like it. Okay. See where we're going to get a bit of a turnaround. 50 seconds on this Infernal Drake. And honestly, I think if Weibo get that Baron, it's good. But flipping for it is not, because they've got this fight to work around when it comes to the Dragon. They have Soul Point. They don't care if DK gets one of them. But getting Infernal Soul is a gigantic deal, and accelerating the Elder Drake is going to be huge as well. So no real need to take the risk. So I do kind of understand the Baron.
Yeah, I did think, though, that we'd end up seeing is that you get the Nara who's going to push in on top side and basically has to be answered by the Aurora because she's the only one with TP because they got that TP from Kingen. But Nara is currently grouped with the rest of the team, so it looks like Weibo just feel confident enough to take the full-on fight rather than looking for a trade for an inhibitor on top side.
Well, now the setup for the Soul begins. Kingen looking for that flank angle, spotted immediately by the Scryer's Bloom. The flanking aiming is set up at the same time. Decent vision here for both teams as the Rift Scuttler will be secured by Weibo. Kingen on that flank, taking a fair bit of damage here. Does have to hookshot his way out of 50% health now. No teleport available. Still going to look for a reset. Wants to be able to try and book it towards this battle. Already you can see this Dragon has been started. Weibo taking a bit of damage off to the side here though. Crisp down relatively low. And yeah, Kingen actually completed the recall, so this could be actually a flank opportunity, perhaps, but there is vision here for Weibo. They'll know what's going on. The Void Seeker's starting to hurt. Breathe on a ward, but the Narbar's good, and that is going to be the Infernal Soul picked up. Showmaker over the wall. Lucid, nothing he can do. He's just cut down where he stands. Still managed to get the light switch before he did die, but Moham has to flash his way out. Is he going to survive? The answer is yes, but on about 0 health, and now Kingen is just going to be dived after. Might survive as well. So they do hold on to their lives, but the damage is being done. That's Infernal Soul.
And potentially Baron. Weibo have already got pushed. They're still healthy and maybe looking to stop the resets. Won't quite get it, but no jungler available. Weibo just get Baron off the back as well.
Yeah. It's a disaster here, and with Lucid down for another 10 seconds, there was no way they were going to contest. And so on top of the fact that they get Infernal Soul, they'll also be able to augment it with the purple buff, and now we're going to move towards a gigantic advantage as far as the money is concerned. Weibo are going to look like a freight train.
But that's the thing, this is so much more controlled from Weibo. You look at the last game, it was Mist Orianna combos with that Nocturnal. Nobody really seemed on the same page. They couldn't figure out how to play through Light Strength, but this is so much more measured. Sure, it was a bit of a flip on the take, but Weibo knew they'd have the team fight afterwards, especially as the Camille had to reset. Lucid goes down, nearly getting this great ultimate, but it was flashed away from aiming for the breathe, but finishing off the Baron and now Soul. This has got to be the end for DK.
It should be, even though there were these miraculous escapes. Doesn't stop the fact that Weibo are just picking up every single objective on this map. They got 6 grubs, they got the Herald, they got every Dragon, and now they've got the Baron. DK, like that list beneath the gold number is very short.
We've lost King. Okay, he's back. No, but yeah, I think this is where you kind of are scratching for anything. Like, again, though, I think you're running out of options. The moment where you could have tried to make some sort of play around Kingen is kind of gone now, especially against someone like Xiaohu. He's just way too strong. And if you ever do, the ability for Weibo to just tear through your structures is so insane.
Oh, it's ridiculous. That is going to be some bounty gold going over, so maybe a silver lining there. But you can see here, after that does fall, the Rebel Baron power play does dip for a second and now goes back up to 2k as that inner turret is taken. Aiming takes most of his health bar from one True Shot barrage and is denied a recall, so the base is going to get broken open. Just looks like DK have no real response to what's going on here. The inhibitor going to fall down. They at least clear the mid wave. The top lane wave is also very far away from DK's base, so it looks like this is reset time. 2.6k on the Rebel Baron power play is nothing to scoff at, and they've got an 8,000 gold lead now and Infernal Soul. So much money worth of stats now available to Weibo, especially after they go back and spend it all.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if they want to go back and spend it all. Breathe is immediately moved up towards this top side, so this is a little greedy from Weibo. They are sitting on a lot of gold, but want to try and use the last minute of this Baron buff, but it looks like they will eventually just back away, but you kind of just missed your reset window, and DK realizes.
Yeah, Void Seeker is going to come through, just barely missing the backside of the Alistair. Lucid not going to go for anything overly aggressive. DK now given a little bit of respite, but I just don't think it's going to be there for long, There's King in here towards this bottom side, just trying to get himself towards relevance, but we just haven't seen DK being able to get any sort of fight to go the way that they want it to. We haven't seen what this composition is built for.
Well, it's when you're so far in the hole, it's impossible to kind of fight your way out. You have to dive in as Nocturne, Camille, even the Aurora, and you just don't have that firepower to really lock or follow up on any of the lockdown from Showmaker. And this position, where we're just getting to play through the strengths of, well, we have very good team fights, we have great threat on side lanes, and Light is just untouchable as DK scrambled to hold on to the map.
Well, Aiming just got a 35 gold lead. So there we go.
Woo!
He's the only one with anything of that nature. 2.5k for both jungle and mid here on Weibo's side. Xiaohu and Tarzan eating good in this game number 2 as now they push down this top wave. Try to break the base on the other side as well. Throwing houses around his breathe. I just don't know whether DK can stop this siege from happening. They're going to have to go for some sort of all-in as Kingen makes his way back. The tower does fall down. Now DK with 5 are going to look to try and push this one out. The anchor not going to hit the target once again here from Mohan, but fortunately for him, it doesn't hit terrain as well. Now Showmaker bouncing around, does go into stealth here as there is the Between Worlds. The ulti out from Xiao is going to come through. He gets knocked up, but there's Crisp! Oh! The headbutt pole flash comes through from Crisp, and he's knocking 3 of them up, but it's just the inhibitor that goes down. This is almost too measured from Weibo. They only want objectives. They're like, stay alive, DK, and just watch your Nexus fall.
I don't know what sort of shellacking they got in the back, because they are not looking at kills at all. It is, we are here to win this game. The only thing that wins this game is objectives. We will take every objective, and thus far, it has been very measured, very by the book. And I mean, if they just take that mid inhibitor, that is every objective that they have gotten on this map so far.
And when was the last kill that they picked up? I feel like it's been 10-4 for a really long time. Wasn't last game. 10's telling me that maybe there was something that happened, but it does feel a little bit like a distant memory at this point in time. There have been fights though, plenty of fights, just not a lot of killing. So it's just, it's perplexing. That's what both of these teams are, to be perfectly honest.
You are very separated here for DK.
Yeah. There are a couple of teleports available for both Kingen and Showmaker, but they might have to use them pretty soon as Weibo are closing in. I think they've realized that maybe some kills are okay, as DK double teleport is on the cards. It's only Showmaker that makes his way in first, as Kingen thinking about a potential flank. And Weibo are still not really pulling the trigger. They don't really have to. They're just keeping DK in position as the Elder has just spawned, and they have the inside track to get over there. Xiaohu setting up for some sort of engage angle as there's the ulti. They've caught Showmaker and he just explodes. Nothing he could do about it. Now the late teleport from King and 2 already dead. Xiaohu out of there. Lucid also going to be dead. This is so clean from Weibo. The X-Tech ultimatum comes in, Aiming, trying to do all of that cool stuff, but the wallets are so heavy. And Weibo will push down. They'll destroy the Nexus and they'll take us to a game 3.
It is a clean ace and a clean showing from Weibo Gaming. They dismantled DK in this game and pushed us to game number 3.
I swear, it's almost too clean,
yeah.
Dagda. And
I don't know who this is.
I didn't think that I'd be saying that phrase in this particular series, but it was gorgeous League of Legends here from Weibo Gaming as they do take down the Nexus in game number 2. DK, they're gonna have to pick themselves back up after that one and see what they can do in the 3rd deciding game between these teams.
Yeah, I mean, every so often, you just kind of get these games from Weibo. Like, I remember game 1 versus JDG in regional finals as well. They just clean macro, incredibly cool, but